The Holy Gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ according to Luke.
Glory to you, Lord Christ.
Jesus said, I came to bring fire to the earth, and how I wish it were already kindled. I have a baptism with which to be baptized, and what stress I am under until it is completed. Do you think that I have come to bring peace to the earth? No, I tell you, but rather division. From now on, 5 in our one household will be divided. 3 against 2 and 2 against 3. They will be divided. Father against son and son against father. Mother against daughter and daughter against mother. Mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law and daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. He also said to the crowds, when you see a cloud rising to the west, you immediately say, it is going to rain, and so it happens. And when you see the south wind blowing, you say, there will be scorching heat, and it happens. You hypocrites, you know how to interpret the appearance of earth and sky, but why do you not know how to interpret the present time? The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Christ.
In today's Gospel, we encounter a Jesus that I suspect is a bit surprising. After all, here we have the one that we call the Prince of Peace saying things like, I came to bring fire to the earth. Do you think that I came to bring peace? No, but rather division. That simply does not sound much like a Prince of Peace. So we might well ask, what is going on in this passage from Luke's Gospel? What is Jesus talking about? How could he be talking about bringing division among families? Let's begin by admitting that the picture Jesus paints, one of father against son, of son against father, mother against daughter, and daughter against mother, this picture is not a new picture. Because whether Jesus came to bring it or not, families have always had their divisions. The mother-in-law that Jesus claims is to be set against her daughter-in-law is proverbial in our culture. Mother-in-law jokes can be traced as far back as ancient Rome. They're probably one of the most common jokes out there. So clearly, Jesus isn't talking about anything new when he talks about divisions within families. What I would suggest is not that these things are new. Rather, I would suggest that what Jesus is talking about is the source of such divisions. The source of the divisions that Jesus is talking about in today's gospel is nothing more than priorities. Jesus is talking about families being divided, not just because of the usual sort of thing. No, he's talking about families being divided because of priorities. He's talking about families being divided because of loyalties to God, and especially loyalties to fulfilling the mission that God has given us to do. Jesus is telling us that when we get very clear on what we are called by God as Christians and as humans to do in this life, we can usually expect some amount of opposition. When we follow and live the life that God calls us to follow and live, we can expect conflict and difficulty. We can expect sabotage and division. Maybe that seems odd. Maybe it seems odd to think that if we get very clear on what it is that God is calling us to do, there might be someone or something out there who would argue with us. That if we place our loyalties to God above our other loyalties, there might be someone who might try to sabotage us, to convince us that we're wrong. But the truth is, there are so many ways in which that sort of thing happens. There's a story that Rabbi Ed Friedman used to tell. It's been a favorite of mine for many years. A man is hurrying on a journey. It is an important mission. He has something that he has been given to do, and he's on his way to do it. Along the way, our hero comes upon a bridge. It is very high, with swift and deep waters below. Standing on this bridge toward the middle, he sees a man with a rope about 30 feet in length tied around his waist. "Good morning," says our hero. "Good morning," says the man with the rope. "Would you do me a favor and hold on to the end of this for just a moment?" Surprised by such a strange request, our hero acts without thinking. He reaches out and he takes it. "Thank you," the man says. "Two hands now," he adds, "and remember, hold tight." Whereupon he jumps off the bridge. Quickly the free-falling body hurdles the distance of the rope's length, and from the bridge our hero abruptly feels its pull. Instinctively he holds tight and is almost dragged over the edge itself. He braces himself against the side, catching his breath, looking down at the other, who dangles close to oblivion. "What are you doing?" our hero yells. "Just hold tight," comes the reply. This is ridiculous, our man thinks as he begins trying to haul the rope back up. But he can't get the leverage that he needs. The weight of the rope and of the man dangling there is just enough that it is too heavy to pull back up. "Why did you do this?" our hero calls out. "Remember," comes the reply, "if you let go, I will be lost." "But I cannot pull you up," the man cries. "I am your responsibility," is the answer. "This isn't fair," our hero yells back. "I didn't ask for this responsibility." "If you let go, I am lost." Our hero begins to look around for help, but there's no one. How long must he wait? Why did this happen now, just as he was on such an important mission? He examines the side of the bridge, looking for a place to tie the rope, but there's no such place. There is no way to get rid of this newfound burden, even temporarily. "What do you want?" our hero yells. "Only your help," the other answers. "How can I help? I cannot pull you in, and there's no place to tie the rope so that I can go and find someone to help me help you." "I know that. Just hang on, that'll be enough. Tie the rope around your waist, it'll be easier." Fearing his arms cannot hold out much longer, our hero does exactly that. He ties the rope around his waist. "Why did you do this?" he yells again. "Don't you see what you've done? How could you possibly have what did you possibly have in mind?" "Remember," the other man answers, "my life is in your hands." What should our hero do? If I let go, he thinks, I will know for the rest of my life that I have let this man die. But if I stay, I risk losing momentum on my mission. Either way, this is going to haunt me forever. With ironic humor, he thinks to die himself, instantly, to jump off the bridge while still holding on. That would teach this foolish person, he thinks. But of course he wants to live, and to live fully. What a choice I have to make. However shall I decide? Of all of Ed Friedman's stories, this one is my favorite, because the good rabbi never told us the end of his story. Each one of us was left to write our own ending to the story. But today I will tell you my ending, even though you may not like it. My ending is simple. It is, I dare say, brutal in its simplicity. But from my vantage point, it is the only way for our hero to get out of his dilemma. My ending is that our hero drops the rope. He walks away, unhappy with what he has been forced to do, but he walks away nonetheless. He walks away because he realizes that he has been given something to do, and he is going to be true to his calling. If he is going to be true to his calling, he has to do it. And he also realizes that there is nothing more that he can do for the man who hangs at the other end of the rope. The man who hangs there will not help himself, and our hero cannot help him alone. And so he lets go of his burden and he moves on, with sorrow to be sure, but he moves on to complete his mission. As brutal as that might sound, it is really the only ending I can see for the story. Perhaps you see others. In life there are times when we have to choose between our priorities, choose between whatever we will follow in the path that we've been called to follow, or whether we'll be sidetracked by other things. When the other things that can sidetrack us are obviously not good things, then the choice is easy. But there are times in life, times in every life, when it isn't a choice between right and wrong, between good and evil. There are times in life when we are forced to choose between good and good, and the best we can hope for is the chance to choose the better good. As Jesus points out in today's gospel, that choice may even mean choosing between our families, a good thing, and God, the better good. It's not an easy choice, but there may be times when we simply have to make that choice. And then having made that choice, having chosen to follow the path that we believe we are called to follow, all that we can do is trust. Trust that God will take care of the rest. Trust that what God seems to have in mind is a far greater good than anything that we can begin to hope for or to imagine. So let me ask you, what are your priorities in this life? What ropes are you holding on to that perhaps are holding you back, tying you down, keeping you in bondage and unable to follow the life to which you have been called? These are the questions that I think today's gospel asks us. Questions of priorities. Questions of who and what comes first in this life that God has given us, this one life that God has given us. They are not easy questions to answer, but whether we know it or not, we answer them every day of our lives. I can only pray that we will answer them well. Until next time, I know that only a few weeks ago I ended by offering you a video of Mary Oliver reading her poem, The Journey. But that poem so complements today's homily that I cannot help but offer it to you again.
I'd like to read The Journey, well, especially for Eve, and especially for all of you. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began. Though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice. Though the whole house began to tremble and you felt the old tug at your ankles. Mend my life, each voice cried, but you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do. Though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible, it was already late enough and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save.